Hello, Aeon Soul family. It's Dana, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing today. People have asked why our tinctures are medicine and like how they're medicine and how they can help with embodiment, ascension stuff. We use principles of alchemy to create our tinctures and spagyric tinctures and medicine. So essentially, if you have your 3D body and then a 5D body, and your 5D body is comprised of color, frequency, sacred geometry, shape, and then you have your physical body, which is made of earth, salt, the salt of the earth, your senses, sight, taste, touch, all of those things. And we're merging those two spaces, 3D and 5D, like physical and then 5D, new consciousness. We're making medicines, we're making tinctures that are energetic medicines that help that process. And I'm stirring something over here because it's on fire. I'm about to show you what it is. So what happens whenever we take a plant that has specific healing qualities, that has natural, God-given, source-directed things that it can do in the mind, emotions, body, and for the soul? Then we take a pure alcohol, which is the spirit of a plant. They call them spirits, and it's literally the rendering of the spirit consciousness of that plant. So we take pure alcohol and we put our herbs in the pure alcohol, and for a period of time we play specific frequencies into that liquid, and the liquid, the spirit, will draw out the energy body or the 5D body or the life force of the plant matter. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you. I know this just looks kind of like leaves and stuff, but at one point this was the moontime tincture. And there are 11 different herbs from 7 different countries, premium organic herbs from around the world in this, and they were vibrant colors. We have yellow and red and purple and everything. And what ended up happening is all of those colors, which color is 5D, the frequency, the energy, the life force, bled off or got captured in the spirit or the alcohol. So then that's awesome, because that liquid alone would totally be medicine for someone's spirit. But here in this dualistic space, we're more than just spirit, and we're more than just consciousness. If you've heard of essential oils, like everyone has, and how medicinal they are the sulfur or the soul of the plants. Okay, so you're using one element of the plant when you use essential oils, and that's awesome. But you're also, then, if you're just using essential oils, missing out on the spirit of the plant, which is the alcohol. Tomorrow we're going to do a video on alcohol and how it's unhealthy and how it can be healthy and used medicinally. The next step in the process, though, that the thing that most people don't know about is every single plant, people are referred to as the salt of the earth. And whenever they do controlled forest fire burns, and after large wildfires, you can look and you see all the stumps and stuff that look like charcoal, and they have this white residue on them. That white is actually crystalline salt, and as the rain comes down and washes the salt back into the earth, that's actually the part of the burn that makes everything come back prolifically. You know how they say they do the controlled burns because it gets rid of all the dead stuff and it makes way for new life. Well, that new life is actually birthed from the salt or the body of the plant after the burning, after the death. So that's the part that the part of the plant that kind of connects it to our body, right? And so you can make tinctures all day, but if you don't add back in the salt part, the likeness, because you are the salt of the earth, you're in your physical salt body, it's just not as effective. So by harnessing the oil, the spirit, and the salt of the plant, we make a trinity. We form a trinity, just like we are Trinity, and in a lot of religions across the board, you'll see the parallel of the Trinity. So that's where the medicine comes in. So we separate these things and collect the individual parts of it, and then we put them back together in a pure version so that we've gotten rid of all the extra, let's call it static, the bits that are visual of a flower. Those are the parts that in energy we don't really need. So we reduce it to its most simple forms, put it all back together, and it ends up being a tonic or a tincture that has huge beneficial value. Whenever we go to burn these herbs, we actually add their own spirit back onto them because it is flammable. And just like humans die, and death is a huge part of the circle of life, we honor the death, and we honor, it's like cremation of this plant matter, and we burn it, and then we add more spirit, and we burn it again, and then we burn it a third time until it turns white. And then what we do is we mix it with water, because salt is water soluble. We use special charged reverse osmosis water. It's the closest thing to rainwater. The earth is comprised of, 70% water. And salt is a part of that physical, the water, that connects to the emotions, that connects to the heart connects to the soul connects to the spirit. So you can see how it's just like this linear, but totally not linear process of connectivity. So we take the ashes and the salt, we dissolve them into water, and then we purify that through filters until it's clear again, and we allow that water to evaporate off in sunlight, because sun, the soul, source, energy, we're balancing everything out. And then once it's evaporated, there will be crystals, or salt crystals, which are, by the way, automatically, naturally alkaline. Every single plant, there's not a plant you can do that you can render the salt from that's not going to be an alkaloid, which is amazing for your body. We collect those salts and then put them back into the tinctures that we've prepared. And so you complete the trinity, and you have a whole complete, more than medicine, we call it remedy. We've harnessed all of the physical, the energetic, and the vibrational frequencies of that plant. We've put it into a liquid form, and then because it contains the spirit or the alcohol, it's taken sublingually. And that means that you put a number of drops underneath your tongue, and the main veins underneath your tongue have blood flow. The alcohol absorbs through the cells in your mouth and directly into your bloodstream without having to go through your digestive system and that try to pull nutrients out. It'll go into your bloodstream and be effective immediately. So dosing is really easy because you can literally just take a drop at a time to see how it affects you, and you can feel the medicine in it right away. The other thing about that is chemical medications, typically there will be a little bit of a side effect or a drawback because they're adding artificial things into it to try to get the same effects. Well, by doing it naturally, and I'm totally not knocking medical science, because I think there's a huge time and place for those things, and I totally honor them as a modality, essentially. But by harnessing these plants in this natural way and taking them as a remedy, you've eliminated all of the negative and harsh potential side effects, because there's nothing left that can really interact with your body in a negative way. There are a few plants that do have interactions with chemical medications, and so, for instance, the pine pollen tincture, the Titan active energy, that we create that helps people. It's so powerful as a reset and a boost in the brain. People who are on antidepressants shouldn't take it, because the antidepressants literally go into a brain that's imbalanced and balance it out chemically and ask it to hold that space. But the Titan active energy is adaptogenic. And so it undermines the medication to ask the brain to do what the brain knows to do naturally. And so it makes the medications ineffective. So we're careful with that with people who are on prescription medications and long-term medications as far as watching for interactions and stuff. We'll have all that information up on the site shortly, but in the meantime, we're just kind of being careful when people order stuff to like let them know, like, hey, are you on any medications? What's your blood pressure like? Things like that. Just to be careful. I'll turn the camera around and you can see that the fire is done. So that's the first burning. Now I have the spirit or alcohol, and I'm just going to spray it on and saturate the body of the plant material again. Now the majority of the life force is in a different container in the lab. I'm outside. I love to do this outside in the sunlight. But it is waiting until we have burned off the rest of this. And I'm going to do this the easy way. See all my utensils and tools. I like to use natural wood as a stirrer. And I just pour a little bit of the spirit and it lights very easily. You can see it's not explosive at all. And then we'll light it again. We tend it. We tend the fire, we turn it, we allow it to burn. So then after this rendering and burning, which I didn't completely saturate it, so I'd like to devote my full attention to the material as I'm doing it. I'm kind of talking right now, so I'll get back into it. Once it turns to ash, but it's not completely rendering the salts yet, you know, the breath of life that is a form of spirit on earth, I actually get down into it and blow into it to really gently spread the fire energy or the death energy into the remnants of the plants so that they can render the salts. So it's a very intimate process, and to do this for each individual batch of spagyrics and tinctures takes anywhere from about an hour to 2 hours just on one batch, just focusing. And I'm telling you, like, the meditative, medicinal value of this action is just such a blessing, such a blessing. Once I have the salts from this, I'm going to put everything onto a wooden plaque of Metatron's cube and play 1122 master frequency so that the sound vibration is moving through the liquids. I'm going to add pure water, pure salt to the alcohol spirit, to the essentially encompassed or captured essence and life force of the plants, put it all together, and then lovingly craft and label the bottles. And so that's just kind of the process of what happens for these pictures that you see. Whenever you see a finished product, sometimes it's been 3 months in the making to get to that stage, but it's worth it, and it's fun and it's cool, and we thank you guys for supporting us with what we're doing, because we can't imagine doing anything else. Like, this is the best job. Our job is the best job, and we love you and thank you, and we'll talk again tomorrow when we come back to talk about alcohol and how it can be absolutely medicinal. And if you're someone who has been addicted to alcohol and had a lot to drink over the years, we can also maybe shed some light into how to stop that addictive cycle. there's a stopgap in there that might be able to help. So we'll see you tomorrow.